guys, and welcome back to my holiday table. Today I have a baked brie that I want to share with you. This is something that my kids just absolutely love, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it's such a family favorite. Well, so we're going to start with our pastry crust, and if you have not seen a recipe on pastry crust, please check that out. Look under my cherry pie segment on the YouTube channel, and that will show you how to do that. So for this recipe, we're going to do a single recipe pastry crust. So on that recipe, if you're looking up that recipe on the cherry pie, do half of that crust recipe that I showed you on that. Now for the single crust, what we're going to do is we have this, I've had this wrapped in wax paper and chilling in the refrigerator for a little while, and we're going to take, I cut that like that in 2/3. So I have 2/3 of that, and I'm saving a third, or about a third. Let me add that to it. All right, so we're going to take 2/3 of this recipe, and we're going to roll this out on a floured board. And this is going to go into, I think this is a 9-inch pan. Anyway, it's about a regular sized pie dish. And this recipe, by the way, if you have a stoneware pie dish, this recipe works really, really great in a stoneware dish. So sometimes, you know, we have those things that people have given us for gifts and we're like, oh, that's so pretty. But then we never, ever find a use for it, right? Well, so get out your stoneware pie dish and use it for this recipe because it really, really works great. All right, so we're going to take our 2/3 of that pastry crust and we're going to roll it out on our floured board. One of the things, you guys, that I love so much about this recipe is that I like to do it very rustic. And since I struggle with making the perfect pie crust with the perfect fluted edges that look like they came out of a mold, I really, really don't do that well. And since I struggle with that, this recipe is really a lot of fun for me because I do it very rustic, in a very rustic style, and I don't need that pastry crust to be all prettily crimped on the edges and those beautiful, perfect thumbprint edge designs on it. We're just going to roll it out pretty much to where it's big enough to fit the pan. Once we get it to that size, we're good. All right, now if it's overlapping a little bit, that's okay, because I'm going to show you what to do with that. All right. And we're just going to set that right in that pan, just like that. Okay, now hold one second. I love these. If you don't have one of these food scrapers, I'm going to tell you what. This has been one of the best investments in my kitchen of small utensils. Really great. And I think, what, like $2 or something like that? I don't know. A really great tool. Okay, so you get your pastry crust in there. Like I said, if it overlaps a little bit, that's totally fine. Now, into that is going to go our brie. If you get a really, really big wedge, you find a really, really big wedge, that's great. Then use that. I could not find a really big wedge already cut, and I was at the store kind of later, and there was nobody in that deli area, so I had to go with what they had already cut. So, just put that into your pan, into your pie crust, your pastry crust, just like that, okay? So I'm just wanting it to be in there like that. Now, in is going to go this is about a generous cup and a half of dried figs. You can use dates. If you have another favorite dried fruit, go ahead and try that. I have found that for some reason, for me, dates and walnuts are like the perfect combo with Brie. All right, now, if you've already got chopped walnuts, that's fine. I like to get the bigger pieces of the walnuts like this and then just bust them a little bit in my fingers. For this application, I don't want to chop them because they get too small and then you get those little tiny fine pieces that are like powder in there, and I don't like that. So you're going to use whatever you like. I've got about a cup and a half of walnuts that we need, because I told you this is 5 ingredients. You got your pastry crust, your pigs, your figs, your pastry crust. Let's try that again. Your figs, your walnuts, your Brie, and your honey. All right? Once again, I just love this recipe, you guys. It's one of those things that's the perfect blend between sweet and savory. There we go. A good healthy, and you saw that just across the Brie and the fruit and the nuts. Couple of passes, and there you go. All right, now we're going to set this over here and roll out our top crust. Now we're just going to come in and just do a very rustic crimp. We're just cutting our holes, our little steam vents, so that the steam can vent out the top. Again, I don't want this to be perfect, you guys. We'll put a little crisscross in the very, very middle. If you're like me, you got 1,001 other things to do on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve. The last thing you need to do is be sweating over a dish. Now, this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown and starting to bubble through those vents and around the edges. Okay, our baked Brie has been in there 30 minutes, right at 30 minutes. Now, I will tell you, I did pull this out, you guys, at the 20-minute mark, and I did an egg wash on it. And if you guys have not seen that, just leave me a comment on that, okay? I'll be glad to go over that in another segment as well. But look at that, you guys. Look, I promised you it was going to be just golden and bubbly, and it's bubbly all around. Those wonderful little aromas and juices are bubbling through. And you see, this is what I was talking about, you guys. Just rustic. I don't need this to be, you know, the perfect for the catalog picture on this dish, okay? I just want it beautiful, rustic, get the job done, and feed everybody. I am not going to be able to do a taste test on this right now because I'm getting ready to take this to a gathering right now. So I'm going to whisk off my apron, pack this in a box, and out the door we're going to go. So if you try this, make sure you leave me a comment, give us a little like, and you know what I'm going to say. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do that for us. That's helping us out so much. And we're so enjoying bringing our Christmas traditions and our holiday table to you. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas holiday, and we'll see you next time on Things Tina Does.